What's going on, everybody? Rob here, and today I'm coming at you with a new video of unboxing my Millermatic 211. So I'm an amateur welder here. I don't have any welding experience, and I'm going to be getting into this and going to be showing you my journey. Hopefully soon I'll be able to start making some custom parts for cars and doing my own fabrication. So that's really the end goal here. So if you want to follow along in my journey, or you're new to the videos here, drop a subscribe, and without further ado, we'll get into the unboxing. Just opened the box here, and what you're going to find inside is the owner's manual, which I suggest reading once you get everything out. It's going to include a small wrench that you'll need, the gas hose, and a thing of OW30 solid wire, and that's all in this bag here. So here is your ground clamp, your gas connecting hose, a couple different Velcro things to keep all your wires and stuff attached to your welding cart if you option for that. A depth gauge, which I hear is very helpful with determining the weld speed. So this shows just how deep or wide the piece of metal you're going to weld is. So that will definitely come in handy. It's got a little key ring here as well, so you can keep it handy. And here is the Mig Wire it comes with, and two contact tips, which I believe are both OW30, and those will come into play in a little bit when we get into putting the welding gun on. So I'm going to keep these safe for now in here. And I'm going to move this stuff out of the way to have a little bit more space. These wrenches will be used during the installation process, or you can use an actual wrench or ratchet. So I'm just going to move this stuff out of the way for now and continue the unboxing. So actually I'm just going to cut this open real quick. And here is one of the, I guess this wrench won't work on this, but you have to unscrew this, which seems to be pretty small. I'll get to the exact size of this nut in a minute, but I'm going to keep doing some unboxing here. So just some packing foam, toss that off to the side, and now here on top of the Millermatic 211 is the welding gun, and this will screw right into your machine. So I'm just going to cut the zip ties off this real quick, and it will be a little bit closer to going together. Be careful not to cut the hose here, because this is where the gas runs through, and that would be a bad way to start the unboxing. So here's this. We've got a little instruction thing there, which I'll keep on for now, but for now I will keep grabbing stuff out of here. So here in this little cardboard box thing is the regulator, and this regulator is for 75-25 argon CO2 mixture. And if you're welding with a different gas, you're going to have to probably get a adapter, which will screw onto here, onto this, where this red cap is, this rounded edge. So we'll get to that in a bit. And the last thing in the box, it seems, is the Millermatic 211. So got a little bit more cardboard to get out of the way here, a little bit of plastic, and I'm just going to lift this up and out. So the power cord is in here as well, already attached, so make sure you get that out in the meantime. And now I'm just going to get the box out of here, and as you can see, here she is. Alright, so now that I've got it out of the box, I'm going to get it out of the protecting plastic. And now that that's good, I will be able to start to set it up a bit for us. So this welder is both 115 amps and 120 amps. So depending on the wall plug that you're using, this is 220. So this will plug into like what your dryer will have, or just a regular wall plug, it will be the 115, which I believe is stored in here. Yep. So when you get it, it will be filled with wires in here, but right here it comes with the 115, and this is super simple design. You just screw off the bottom of the large plug, and you have this, and there is an arrow on here somewhere, yep, on the left side, and you line that up with the arrow on this plug and push it in, and then you can screw it right on and you'll be good for your average wall plug. So super simple. This, in case you don't want to lose it, you can stick it right in here. There's a little Velcro area in the corner. Otherwise I would just leave it on your welding cart or table somewhere close by. You can fit this right in there, which is convenient for not losing track of it. Simple Velcro, toss it in there, tighten it up. I'm going to be starting just with my regular wall plug, so I'll leave that for another time. So here is the power. We'll just bring that behind for now, since we won't be turning it on yet. And now, move this out of the way for a minute as well. Now, the cord that comes in here is the ground, which is quite mixed around in here. And so this comes in a zip tied area, so you're just going to want to cut that open. Again, watch out for cutting the rubber hoses that cover the wires within the ground. And now that that is all unfurled, we will bring this ground through the front. Alright, so once you get the whole ground fed through, you'll have it looking a little something like this. And the next step you're going to want to do when setting it up is putting the ground clamp onto the ground wire. And it's pretty simple. You're just going to undo this nut and take off the two washers, and then you're going to want to feed this ground wire onto the ground clamp. So let me put you down, get you close in here, and I will walk you through it. So this is pretty simple. There's a small hole back here that you're going to want to feed this through. And then you are just going to go and put this around the bolt that's through here. Put your small washer and then your locking washer on there. And then screw on your bolt. Now this bolt is a 10 millimeter. Giving me some trouble here just because the bolt is going through into the clamp. And then you're going to want to get a ratchet or wrench and really tighten this down. So it has a secure, strong connection. That should be good for now. And so obviously the ground is what you're going to be clamping onto your workpiece or your table when you're welding, so you want that to be a strong and firm connection. Alright, the next step is we're going to be putting on the welding gun. So I will bring you around to the front of the machine. Alright, so when feeding the gun into the machine, you're going to use this larger hole that has kind of a light bulb shape to it. And what's going to go through there is this connector, which will give the gun power, and this, which the wire will spool through. So I'm just going to slide that through first, and then we're going to slide this through as well. Now this gold part goes directly into the wire feed area, so I'm going to just stick this through into there for now, and then I'm going to meet you around the side to show you how to put it in. Alright, so as you can see, there's two silver parts here that you just feed the gold tip through. You're going to want to loosen this little nut here first, and then once you get it through, you're going to want to tighten that down so that this thing isn't moving anywhere. Should be good to go. And now this wire underneath, you're going to want to unscrew this plastic far part, and you are going to want to stick it in this area here, right above the two wires that determine the polarity. Now there's a specific way you're going to want to put this in, because there's different notches in the inner ring here. So you're going to want to find the widest area, which will be facing up, plug that in there, and then tighten the locking collar as well. Once that's tight, you're just going to want to bend that wire back around in here so it's not in the way of anything. Give it a tug, make sure it's nice and tight, and that should be good to go. So the next thing you're going to want to adjust when setting up is both the tightness of the clamp that comes down here to the wire. As you can see, that locks it in. There's a little number on here, 4, 2, 3, and you can either screw this up to the left and it'll be looser, or you can screw it down and it will be tighter. So what I was reading is they recommend to start off at 2 and go up or down from there in tightness. And then the other nifty thing right here is this little locking circular collar is the roller that brings in the Mig Wire. So it's kind of an easy little thing. You can push in and turn depending on if you're using 024, 030, or 035. And it's pretty simple, easy little thing. And yeah. Next we will get on to the wire spool and how that is also adjustable depending on if you have a 10 pound, 8 pound or a lighter 2 pound spool of wire, which it comes with, since obviously that can't fit on. So as you can see here, this comes with a 2 pound spool of OW30. And obviously the hole on this is quite small compared to this large thing we've got here. So you're going to want to undo that to spool it on, and that is with a 13mm nut right there. So this will be for more of like an 8 or 10 pound spool, and then it has a smaller circumference if you take this off with the washer. And as you can see now, fits right on like a glove, and then you can put this right back on there. So it goes washer, spring, nut. And another thing to note is when you put the wire over, you want it to feed over so that it lines right up with here. It's not under, because that would go down and then up to get to over this point. So you always want it to be feeding over the spool. And also, once you get the spool on there, you want it relatively tight so that when you stop, it doesn't keep spinning and screw up your wire. So you want it tight enough to spin, but not loose enough to kind of freely spin. So that's just probably good, and if you find it being too loose or too tight, then you can always open her back up and adjust. So since I'm not going to be getting into any welding today, I'm just going to finish showing you up how to insert a contact tip into the gun, and then I will go ahead and show you how to put the gas regulator and hose on the back of the machine. So here's the 030 contact tip, and here is the shield for the shielding gas area. And so you're just going to unscrew this, and then this contact tip also has some threads, so you're going to stick it in here and tighten it up. You want it to be tight so it won't wiggle around, but you don't want it to be so tight that you won't be able to get it out. So for now, hand tight will be good, and then you're going to want to screw this on tight again. And now it has the contact tip in there and the outer shielding thing for the hose. So now that everything is set up internally, besides the spooled wire going through the spool right here, I'm going to go around to the back of the machine and show you how to input the gas hose, which is right in here by this red thing, which is stuck in there just so the threads don't get interrupted in shipping and stuff. And I will show you that this hose, which also comes wrapped up, forgot about that, I have to cut that loose. So the hose has two sides, one side being open, which will go into the regulator, and one with metal and the screw on the side, and you're going to want to screw that right into here. Now you're going to want this to be nice and tight. And this is what the 11/16 wrench came with in the packet earlier. So you want to tighten that on there nice and good. Don't want the gas sneaking out before it even makes it into the machine. So once that's in there, now you're going to take your regulator here and connect it to the small end here. This larger side will go into the bottle. But you're going to want to take this small end and put it in the open end of the hose, and then you're going to need a pliers for this section. So once that is all flush here, so now that the tube is flush with the regulator, you're then going to want to take a pliers and get on this little clip, green clip, and wiggle its way down all the way onto as close to the nut on the regulator as possible, so that it's a nice strong clamp there. So as you can see here now, the little clip right here is as close to the regulator as possible, which will seal the tube as best as possible. So that's pretty much it on the setup for the Millermatic 211 here. Next video I'm going to get into getting with it and attaching the gas regulator to the gas bottle, which here I'm going to leave it on for now since I don't have the gas with me. And then I will get to tacking some things together. So while I still have it here, I'm going to throw this on the cart that I assembled in my previous video, one of my previous videos. If you haven't watched it and you bought the Miller 211 with the cart, go give it a watch. It's a bit of a lengthy install since I had to drill some things out, but it wasn't too bad. So I'm going to bring you down a little bit here and throw it on the cart. Alright, so this is going to be a pretty simple transition here. I opted for the cart just because I'm going to be moving the Miller in between both my basement and the garage, just since the garage gets a little moist every now and again. So I figured better to be able to keep it indoors if I want. So pretty simple here. I'll lift this down here onto here, and then I'm going to move these in here. So there's some little tabs here that will just be able to back in over here. Slide the regulator back in through here, so it's out of the way. I'll take my power cord, put this through the back as well. And then I'm going to push this up against the rear tabs here. And then the final step here will be to put the small locking plate on the front so it keeps the welder in place. Now, this isn't necessary, but since it's there, I figure I may as well do it. So, just gonna put these things through the ropes here. And now I will be able to put the locking plate into place. So it's going to be a little hard to see here because this locking plate is dark and so is the surface I'm putting it on. So here is the little locking plate that you can just put in front. And then it came with 2 washers, 2 nuts and 2 bolts. So just going to drop the nuts down through here with the washers underneath them, and going to tighten it up. So pretty simple to get it to stay in place. You're just going to go from the bottom, feel around a little bit, and screw it on. Now the final step here I will show is just taking your hoses with these nifty little side things here, and you can just wrap it around, and this will be able to just kind of sit here and hold, which is just a nifty little feature. More of a convenience factor than anything. You can do the same on the other side with the ground. Just so it's all nice and packaged up for when you're not using it. There we go. And then you can do the same on the back with the gas line and the power cord.